Okay, so I think we're ready to roll. Let me catch my breath here. Those stairs are still, woo! My God, it is. We had to move shit up these stairs for the past week.
Mm-hmm.
I think my calves are gonna be ripped.
Yeah.
Ripped. My God, it's insane. I haven't worked out this much in months. Okay, so we have a new setup. Welcome to the new place, the new studio, if you will. We're still working some things out, so we might not be on the couch for every episode. We might be for the foreseeable future. Dixie's going to try to interrupt right off the bat. Let me take this off of you, because otherwise we're going to hear it. There we go. Thank you. All right. Let's keep that back there. Okay. So we got a new setup, new place, new studio, new guest, which is I'm very excited about because we had to delay because of the tropical storm, right?
Yeah.
What was it? I
don't know.
Who cares? It's whatever. So we are getting back into it. We took a few weeks off, but we're very excited to be here again. Here, get down, please. Get down, please. I lightly pushed her. That was not puppy abuse. It was a light push.
I can attest.
Yeah. So, welcome to the Scratch Track. This is going to be episode number 19, I believe. We took a few weeks off. We were trying to, regaining our composure, getting some new stuff, getting a new set built, a new place that we just moved into, which I will not tell you the address to, but if you come here and you're a guest, maybe you'll find out for yourself, and you can do with whatever you want with that information. But anyway, please follow us if you haven't already on Instagram and Facebook, the Scratch Track Podcast. We also have the YouTube channel, which is where you can find this. And if you're watching this right now, just go ahead and click that little bell underneath for notifications if you're already subscribed. And if you're not, hit the subscribe button. It's only a little part of your day, but it means a lot for us. So that's how we get to a new audience, and, that's how we can monetize some stuff and make a little cash off of this, okay? So thanks. I appreciate it. And then, without further ado, I'd like to welcome my good friend, Jeffrey Brockman, everybody. Do you go by Jeffrey or Jeff?
Jeff.
Jeff.
Jeff or
Jeff.
Brock or Hey Man. Or
Hey Man. So Jeff is a local musician now in the Tarpon Springs area. But you're all over the county now, man, right? You're getting a lot of gigs. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, it's mostly Tarpon, but it's slowly expanding.
Yeah. Well, plug your social media and your original stuff and all your books and all that, and
okay,
go for it, man.
So let's see, Facebook's Jeffrey Brockman Music. I believe Instagram is Jeffrey Brockman Music as well. I've got jeffreybrockman.com where you can find everything. It's kind of a one-stop shop.
There you go.
Got some sample music that is eventually going to come out.
Okay.
You can listen to some of that on jeffreybrockman.com. As far as the books, I don't really have them anywhere. It's just kind of personal things that I've written, and I think I'm eventually going to put them on Amazon. But
that's cool, man.
That's coming up for books, poetry, and lyrics.
Nice.
So, yeah.
That's dope. Yeah, that's a fun thing. So do you have a different approach to when you're writing poetry versus lyrics, or do you kind of just see what it looks like on paper or sounds like and then go hey, I can fit that in a song?
Generally, I know if it's going to be a poem or a song as I'm writing it.
Okay.
I'll set out to write a poem specifically for a topic, and it naturally will probably flow a different way than a song will.
Yeah, true.
And when I write a song, it's usually a little bit more spontaneous. So I don't.
Yeah, I find that as well with my stuff, because I have some poetry that I've written in a little composition book or whatever. It's right over there. But normally, songs kind of just come right out. Poetry, I gotta kind of sit down and think. I try not to waste any emotion with poetry and kind of ease people into it. Where a song, you can kind of tease them with what it's about, and then hit them with it in in the bridge or something like that. But I feel with poetry, you have to kind of really grab them right away, and you have to know the theme of it instantly, so you can kind of get a feel of what you're actually emotionally investing yourself in, because that's a lot of what poetry is. You're not casually read. I don't casually read it anyway. I don't go all right. It's normally oh shit, this is good. It's cool. So, so you're a veteran too, right?
Yeah, retired Air Force.
Yeah, that's great, man. Congrats. You're retired. So
yeah.
What's next now? What are you doing now?
Well, now I work for Pasco County, so I'm
cool.
a safety manager over 7 departments, and their public infrastructure branch. That's the official title, which keeps me very busy. That's my 9 to 5.
Yeah, yeah.
I've got an awesome team that I work with, and couldn't be happier with that job. So it's cool to wake up in the morning and say, "Hey, man, I really love my job and want to go to work."
Dude, that's sick.
Yeah, so that's the 9 to 5, and then got music on the side, so gigging around Tarpon and Palm Harbor and Clearwater, and
very nice.
yeah.
My sister's actually, when this comes out, she'll be home. I think she just did Army boot camp, and she did her AIT training, and now she's doing her with the third portion of that, like the specialty something. I don't
Maybe
know.
some job specialty,
something like that. I don't know.
Army's weird.
Yeah, it
Love
is.
you guys.
Yeah, dude, she's a badass motherfucker, man. Like it was a pretty dope thing to see that, and they were live streaming all the events, and obviously couldn't show up to any of the graduations, but it was cool to be able to see that and whatever. But yeah, so what year did you when did you enlist?
Okay, so I initially there's a story behind this, but I enlisted right out of high school in '96. I graduated in '96.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to high school in Maypearl, Texas, just south of Dallas. I grew up in Dallas, Texas.
Okay. Wow.
So, when I
Interesting.
was like 13, my parents moved south to the country, which is a complete culture shock from
Yeah.
living in a city. And then,
Was your dad military also?
my dad was military during the Vietnam era. He was a communications guy.
Holy shit.
So he was. He got to witness the Vietnam War from Japan.
Wow, I got a couple buddies whose parents were in the Vietnam War, and they say it's like they have some stories that you won't ever hear.
Yeah.
But congrats on that, and I'm glad he's still able to talk a little bit about it, like to be back and everything. But that's really cool, man. So Texas at 13, from. Wait, I'm sorry. Did you move from Texas or to Texas?
No. I grew up in Texas.
Grew up in Texas.
Grew up in Dallas, Texas. Then moved south to Maypearl.
Okay.
At the time, I believe the population of Maypearl, Texas, was like 865.
What?
Yeah, my graduating class was like 33
Holy
people.
fuck, dude! I think 800 people were in my high school graduating class.
Yeah,
That's
so
nuts.
It was a culture shock when I was like, do I start wearing cowboy boots? Like, I don't know.
You got to get a class ring after you're done, though.
Well, no, I graduated, and I knew that I wanted to join the Air Force, so I made a career of it. Got to travel the world and meet some awesome people.
That's dope, man. Yeah, that's really cool. So then you, how old are you now?
I'm 43. Turned 43 back in May.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, all these military guys that come in here and they fucking tell me how old they are. I'm like, God damn it. You look great for 43.
It's funny because all the crap we go through in our careers, you think we look older.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, how the fuck do I not have a leg up on these guys that are killing themselves every day? Like, geez, man, this is crazy.
No,
I get
cool, man.
Everybody. Yeah, I'm 28 and I am fucking falling apart, man.
Yeah.
It's not good. Yeah, summertime for me was not good. We did a lot of like makeup vacations.
Yeah.
From last year in 2020, obviously, everything just I couldn't go anywhere, couldn't enjoy it. Even if you could go, it wasn't even going to be the full experience. So we're like, just fuck it, let's just wait a year, still be there in 2021, hopefully. And we did 2 family reunions, one with Jasmine's family, one with my family, and then we did a trip to the Keys with my family, and we did. I went to Orlando a couple times. Once with Jasmine to do. She's a volleyball coach, so her team was in the national tournament over there. So we did that for a weekend, and then we just came back from West Palm to see Dave Matthews. And I feel like from June 1st until now, I've been drinking every fucking day.
Yeah,
It's just been like every day you wake up, you're like, oh hey, it's Busch Light o'clock. Let's do this. God. And by the way, fuck you guys. You know who I'm talking about. That got me hooked on Busch Light. I always thought it was dog shit. Now I'm like, you know what? This just tastes like the summer.
It tastes like the summer. This is Florida summer.
Yeah, right. What's your go-to light beer? Like your go-to? I know you like the craft stuff. Like me, what's your go-to like trash beer? Like just something you're buying in quantity.
Oh man, I don't know, man. I love Corona. I love Red Stripe, stuff like that. I've never really been a Bud Light or a Busch Light person, but no, if I don't have craft beer, it's a Corona or a Red Stripe, something like that.
That's funny that I'm pretty sure that Corona and Red Stripe were my 2 first beers.
Yeah.
I drank. I don't know if I'll be able to tell this story. Like people call the fucking cops on my mom, but it's not bad. I kept saying when I was like, 11 or 12, I'm like, when I'm 13, I'm gonna have a beer with you. I'm gonna have a beer with you, because I would always see her like drink Coronas.
Yeah.
So I would go like, I'm gonna have a beer with you at 13. She goes, okay, you're gonna hate it, but we can try. So I turned 13. She cracks one for me. She's like, here, do you like it? I'm like, this is the worst thing I've ever tasted in my whole life. And I didn't drink for like 3 years after that. But pretty sure I had a Red Stripe. My uncle cracked one for me around a fire in like Montana or something like that. There's not much else to do out there than sit around and
That
drink
was my
beer
first
and
duty
shoot some
station
shit.
in
Was it?
Montana, yeah.
Really? Isn't
Yeah.
it beautiful out there?
Beautiful.
Dude.
Winters are brutal, but man.
Oh, yeah.
It's beautiful.
God. So what's your favorite? I know you've been not necessarily with gigging, but like just in your travels and when you're on duty and you're stationed. Where's your favorite spot that you've been so far, you think?
That's tough to answer, because I've been every place that I've ever been to, every country. There's been something very unique about it. Even in Europe, it's very, very easy to I was stationed in Italy for 5.5 years towards the end of my career.
Wow, 5.5 years.
Five
That's
and a half years.
crazy.
So Italy itself has something to offer, and you can travel to like 5 different countries in a day, like super easy.
Yeah.
But each one is very unique in its own way.
Wow.
So it's kind of hard to pinpoint. I can pinpoint maybe per country, but yeah, Italy was probably my favorite assignment.
That's
just
crazy.
Because of proximity to everything else. But
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have not been out of the country.
no.
I am a poorly traveled. I mean, I've seen enough of America to kind of be like, everybody's pretty cool. There's very few places that I've been to where I'm like, I'm never fucking coming back here again. Like very few. But like every place I feel like has its own sort of like the pull of why you go there, and it's always different, and it's always beautiful to see like how different people are living in different circumstances, and what they pride themselves on in terms of food and who was born here and like whatever thing. Like I love learning about that and seeing that and everything, and I've just never been out of the country. I mean, I've been to fucking Cozumel a couple times, like on a cruise or some shit, but that doesn't even fucking count. Like they're like everybody's American there.
Yeah, you're getting off the boat.
Yeah, that's it. They're like
walking American society.
Yeah, they're like, okay, you got a mile radius until if you get shot, it's not our fucking problem anymore.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's funny because we've got a family cruise planned for not this Thanksgiving, but the next Thanksgiving. And I told my wife, I was like, this time we're gonna go out and we're gonna like see things and away from all the touristy spots. She's like, really? I'm like, I've done this before, babe. Just trust me. Not with kids, though.
Yeah, right.
True.
Hey, can you do me a favor real quick and just pull that down a little bit and just
I'm good right there?
Yeah, that should be good. I'm trying to look and see.
Should I get intimate with it?
Yeah, you can if you want.
There we go.
So you have kids too. How many kids do you have? You have two kids?
I've got 2, and I've got a blended family, so it's like the Brady Bunch.
That's
so
dope.
I've got 2, my wife's got 2, so 6 total between us and the kids.
That's great. Yeah, we have a blended family also. My mom got remarried in 2002. Yeah, 2002, and my stepdad had 3 kids going into it. So we have I have my sister, so the 2 of us and the 3 of his kids, so that we were 5, and then they had 1 together. So we have 6 kids in total in the family on vacation. Yeah, it's
crazy.
It's intense, man.
I bet.
Yeah, everybody.
So where do you fit in all that as far as age-wise?
I'm in the middle. There's 2 older than me, and there's 3 younger than me.
Yeah, I'm a middle kid too.
Yeah. We get a lot of flack. Middle child.
I know. What the hell,
They get a lot of flack.
You guys gotta cut us some slack.
Yeah, it's all right. We're all right. We might be the black sheep, but we're fun at least,
Oh, yeah.
Jasmine's a middle child too, and I was like, I thought you were gonna be a fucking nightmare, but it turns out she's pretty cool. So I think I'm gonna keep her around for a little bit.
That's not what he told me before we started. I'm joking.
Yeah, not you. I'm just kidding. It's not you. Yeah. So when did you meet Candace?
That's an interesting story in itself. After I retired from the military, I went to Iraq as a contractor.
What?
On a whim. Because I retired the military early, so I did 17 years versus the full 20.
Whoa.
Because there's a whole story behind that, too. They had too many people, and they said, hey, Sergeant Brockman, you want to retire early? We'll give you full benefits as if you retired at 20. And I'm like, hell yeah, get the hell out of here. So I did that.
So you were 35?
Yeah, 35, yeah. So I was already slated to go to my next duty station, and I knew I was supposed to deploy. I was like, well, let me just go try this contracting thing. That was a nightmare. But while I was over there, I knew that I was going to come back to Tampa because that's where my kids were, and my wife at the time going through divorce and everything. And anyway, so I knew I was coming back, and there was a charity group that Candace was a part of that I was curious in and about, and she was like, "Hey, you're in Iraq, you're coming back here," and kind of she was going through the same thing with Iraq at the time, and
Sure.
so anyway, we just started talking, and we were friends for a few months, and then I said, "Hey, I'm gonna resign from this job and just come back to Tampa or move to Tampa." And then we just kind of hit it off from there.
That's great.
Naturally,
man.
we didn't want to, have any commitments without knowing what the hell was going to happen.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
That's
but yeah, she's pretty cool.
Yeah. She's really cool, man. Yeah, she's super sweet. I like. I didn't realize that you guys were married. I don't think until like recently.
Yeah.
Because I've played at Five Branches a few times, and I saw you. I think the first time we actually like talked was
when you were playing there.
That Saturday afternoon or something like that when I was playing there.
Yeah.
And I remember you were sitting in the front with I was like, is it okay if I curse in front of the kids?
I remember that. Yeah.
Singing songs. Yeah. Yeah, but that was really cool, man. Like I honestly I love that place, and it is one of my favorite spots to play. I email Ramey constantly. I'm like, dude. Shamelessly, I bug him all the time. I'm like, hey man, can I get back in there? Can I get back in there? I just love playing that spot because, like I said, I grew up. I was born in Dunedin. I've lived pretty much everywhere up and down Pinellas. I mean, I've lived in Trinity, lived in Safety Harbor, Countryside, St. Pete, Palm Harbor, East Lake, whatever, everywhere. So Tarpon was kind of like the home stomping grounds for everything. But there wasn't a good downtown when I was a kid. Not that you would go downtown as like as a high schooler, but like even when I got out of high school and I would come back and we would go to places, it would always be, Tampa. Like everybody would want to go to Tampa.
Yeah, naturally.
Now it has that little quaint vibe of like you have breweries there, you have the arts there now, which it's always kind of been there, but I feel like it's more. Social media obviously boosted it up a little bit. You can get a wider audience from that and see a lot of people. But like, there's a lot of great art in general down there, whether it be music or the murals or the arts they put into the drinks, the craft beer experience down there. It never was like that for as many years as I can remember. It was never like that. So I don't know how it happened. I don't know how I got booked there, or who told me. I think it might have been Glenn. I think Glenn told me about it, and he was like, "Yeah, you should email these guys. I think they're pretty. They're ready to start booking some people." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So, the first day that I was there, I think it was like October of 2020. I think that was the first time I played there, and I was like, "This is fucking rad." Like I love playing here.
Yeah, it's a cool
I
spot.
love playing here. Yeah, you don't get a lot of that. Like you don't get that small brewery vibe really anymore in a lot of gigs that you play.
Yeah.
There's a few that I'll never pass up an opportunity to play because it's just the feel of that and the intimacy of that, like a room with the low ceilings and like one or two bartenders and just everybody kind of locked in on what's going on like that. Yeah. You don't get that at a lot of places, so it's really cool to be able to tell stories and shit. And in a bar, most of the time in the bar, you're like you're
the background music.
Yeah, like nobody hears what you're saying. They're like, what's he saying? Yeah, it's just a lot of. It's a lot of give and take with stuff. It's a lot of you get to see every type of person, which is kind of cool. You get to see every type of person that's like a listener, that's a fan, that's an owner, that's a bartender. You get to see and you get to gain those and keep those relationships are the good ones. And Five Branches has definitely been one of those relationships. I love playing there. I'll never pass up a opportunity. I'd probably cancel something to go play there.
Yeah. Hey, man. I got the hookup.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, man. So tell me a little bit about like when you started playing, writing, or was that a part of like when you were in the military? Were you able to bring an instrument and stuff?
Yeah. So I started writing. It's funny. It was probably like in third grade, and I wrote my first poem. And it was, I went to this Christian school when I was a kid, just living in Dallas in an inner city.
Yeah,
probably wasn't the best for me to be going to the public school. So my parents put me in private school. And I remember being in third grade and, having to write something about God and Jesus. And so we had to open up the Bible and we had to write a poem based off of what we read. And it was some verse in Revelation, and I wrote this whole poem about it, and I was so proud of myself. And You know, and I don't know. I don't even remember what the poem was about, other than Jesus riding on a white horse,
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like,
Isn't
oh crap, I can write.
Isn't Revelation that's like the goriest
Oh yeah,
chapter of the book, right? Isn't
yeah.
it?
I think it was something about the end of the. I was
End of
I
the
mean,
world, isn't it?
Yeah, I was like third grade, and I was talking
Like,
about like you're all gonna die.
my mom
Repent now.
my mom says that like she's was scarred in the beginning of her church going because the very first time like she would go there, the preacher would be up there like, I'm gonna die, you're gonna die, we're all gonna die. She's like 12, like, what the fuck is going on?
Exactly.
Like, I'm not gonna die.
There's a reason I don't go to church anymore.
Yeah, man, it's a lot of a lot. We don't have to get into that
Yeah,
because
it's all good.
but I mean,
To each their own.
I'm the same.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I've been lied to pretty much by every person that's deeply involved in a organized religion. So I actually worked with a guy too that's like that. One of that story is on a couple episodes ago with John Lee. So.
That. Yep.
Yep.
Oh,
he's an interesting character. Anyway, he's still gigging around town. You've probably seen him. I'll tell you who he is when we get off the mic. But
All right.
so you started writing. Third grade, that's your first thing. When did you know that you wanted to pick up an instrument? Like, did you have that pull? Because I always saw my dad's guitar in the corner. I'm like, I want to learn how to do that.
So I come from a very musical, inclined family.
Mm-hmm.
My dad played guitar. I mean, as long as I can remember. When I was 15, and I had written and had all this collection of, God knows what. The quality probably wasn't the greatest, but it was getting my feet wet with writing. And I was 15, 16 years old, and my dad had bought this Yamaha guitar at a pawn shop and handed it to me. He's like, here. And then he handed me a book of chords, and he's like, there you go, learn this. And I was like, well, crap, Dad. I was like, you play. Like, he's like, that's easier for you to do it here. Like, so anyway, I mean, I tried, my fingers hurt, and, and I was like, man. And then I had all this stuff that I'd written. I was like, I got to do something with this. So I've got to learn how to play guitar.
Yeah.
So I was in the military at the time when I truly got into like trying to figure out chord progressions and everything else.
Sure.
So, and I probably was 21, 22 when I was like, I'm going to put a song together. Like, on my own, like no band, no nothing. So
that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
I'm
and
gonna shut these because I think they'll light.
No worries.
Sorry.
Yeah. And then just kind of slowly took off from there.
Maybe not. Hold on.
Nope.
Sorry, we're readjusting the lighting on the fly. There we go.
We don't have a lighting tech yet.
Yeah, right? Yeah, everybody when they watch this, they're like, do you do this all by yourself? I'm like, yeah, can you tell?
No, not at all.
I'm in the middle of like, oh, I'm sorry, can you, yeah. Ma'am, get down, please. She's my assistant. She's my production assistant. Okay, sorry, continue. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so I was leaving Montana going to Korea at the time, and I was in Montana for 4 years initially, and then I had orders to Korea. I was going to be there for a year, and it was I just started writing, and I brought my guitar with me to Korea. Mm-hmm. Started playing some gigs in downtown Korea, just solo stuff.
No way.
Ended up with two guys that are still phenomenal musicians, and they've kind of gone their separate paths, and but we had a band.
That's
and
wild.
Played some places in Korea, and it was fun. It was all just like an acoustic band, and I was horrible. And it was bad.
Do you ever get this question? Was it north or south?
I have actually. I have.
That shit is so fucking ridiculous. It's like, oh no, it's real cool up there in north. Yeah, they love music. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
I've heard.
I have. Yeah, not very often, but
yeah, we just look like. Do you read at all? Like, do you know what's going on?
Yeah,
that's pretty wild. So, what was the city that you were? Is it
So
Seoul?
It's south of Seoul.
Right.
It was
okay.
a base at Osan Air Base.
Okay.
Yeah. So
what are the bars like there?
Phenomenal.
Really?
Yeah, they're great. I mean, it's a different culture. There's I don't know. I mean, this was 2001, 2002 when I was there last, but it's changed quite a bit.
Were you singing? I mean, obviously you're singing American music. Is it well received over there?
We're talking about one or two places that would actually kind of Americanized places.
Yeah,
it wasn't anything too crazy. Okay. Yeah,
that's pretty
cool.
cool.
And then played on bass.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, man, that's pretty incredible. So, how many countries have you played live music in?
Let's see, Korea, England, think I played in Scotland
Wow.
just on a whim.
That's wild.
Let's see, Italy, Croatia, Germany. Yeah,
Jesus.
I think that's about it. No, I've also played in Middle East too.
Holy shit, dude.
Qatar, Iraq, yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I'm over here like I don't want to I don't
Yeah,
want to
but-
drive to fucking Tampa or St. Pete or
I didn't
whatever.
have a
but,
choice.
like-
I was like, I'm here. Let me just play some music.
That's
like,
that's
yeah.
so great though, man.
Yeah.
That's so great. I mean, you probably gave so many people a chance to forget about everything for a little bit, you know, in all those different places and everything that was, you know, it's so cool how universally accepted music can be, no matter
Absolutely.
what language you're speaking, no matter what area you're in, as long as you appreciate true, honest art, you can really just kind of escape the day and just
Yeah.
be like, this is what I needed to have today. You know, I love that about music, and I love that about like meeting people. Like I love hearing, oh, yeah, we were gonna walk down to this place, but we heard you from the street, and like
Yeah.
now we're having a good time. I'm like, that's awesome, man. I love that.
I've got
You know?
I've got some. I'll tell a story if you don't mind.
Yeah, go, yeah.
So my buddies and I, we took the train down to Venice in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of guys in my shop, and we always found Irish pubs wherever we went. So
Mm-hmm.
we went to an Irish pub in Venice, Italy, and you know, we were taking the train back, so we weren't worried about drinking or anything. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're chilling out. Probably had way too many Guinnesses or whatever.
Right.
And, this guy walks up to me, Italian guy, and he hands me this guitar, and he's like, "Jeffrey Brockman, play me a song," in the middle of this Irish pub. And I'm looking around like, how the hell do you know my name, first and foremost? Secondly, where the hell did you get that guitar from?
That's so crazy.
And then I see my buddies in the background just laughing and snickering. They told him that I was a famous American singer-songwriter,
No way.
and that he had to get me, or he was gonna go hand him the guitar and he'll play his song. So
That's-
I played like half of a set in the middle of this Irish pub on
That's-
a whim,
that's funny.
trying to remember the lyrics to my songs, and it was hilarious.
That's so funny.
And then he had me sign his. He was an Elvis impersonator too.
No way.
And
In Italy?
In Italy.
No
He didn't look
way.
like Elvis at all. But he ended up having me sign his white leather jacket, what was all bedazzled, and I was, had a few too many, and it didn't look like Brockman, it looked like Brock Mew.
Oh yeah.
So, people call me, "Hey, Jeffrey
Brock
Brock
Mew."
Mew for the longest time. Yeah. Anyway, that was a funny story.
That's funny, man. Yeah, man, some of the best gigs and some of the best experiences that you have, and back me up on this if you think, but I think some of the greatest experiences that I've had are like random, like, oh, you want me to play right now? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
little stuff like that,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh shit, I didn't know like you were this good, or
Oh, yeah.
or something like, hey, come back tomorrow, or that, like all that stuff. It's really. It's really weird. Like you can try really hard to get into certain places and play and like practice and really like just hone in on some specific schedule or like, all right, we're going to meet up at this time or we're going to get these songs down or whatever. And you could put all this time and effort into like trying to get everything right for a specific place. And then sometimes the best shit happens when you're like a little rusty,
Oh yeah.
randomly running into people, be like, "Hey man, how you doing?" Like just
Yep.
out of nowhere. So it's so weird. Music is such a weird job. It's such a
is,
weird
yeah.
endeavor. Like when I tell people what I do, which I don't. Like when I talk about like what I do to people that I know, they're like, "So, like you do this a lot?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is all I do." It's
Yeah.
like this is how I have this.
Yeah.
This is how I am able to, buy groceries and pay the electric bill. Like that's
Yeah, it's
that's
your
how
job,
that's
like
how I
everything
do
else,
it.
yeah.
And they're like, "So what do you think about doing later on?" I'm like, "This. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do this."
Yeah.
What do you mean? It's a lot. People
Yeah.
are very 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 down on the career a lot of the times. But
Yeah, I
it's,
don't understand, man. It's you're very good at what you do, and I know that if I put more time into it, I could probably do the same.
oh,
But
yeah, of course. Everybody can
Oh,
play.
absolutely.
Everybody can
Absolutely.
play. It's
Yeah.
just a lot of people give up past they don't get past the, oh, my fingers hurt.
yeah,
A lot of people don't get past
your
that.
fingers are gonna hurt.
Yeah,
I tell you
mine
that, yeah.
mine hurt still, and I've been
Yeah.
playing for, I don't know, 10 and a half years or
Yeah.
something like that. Like it hurts like a motherfucker to play some songs, especially if you're doing like 3-hour gigs for an entirety of a weekend. It's like, oh my god, this is just they feel raw. Like it's, but it's It's a lot of fun, man. I still got to catch one of your sets, man. I haven't seen a full set. I can't. Now that I'm settled, I'll be able to get up and move about the cabin a little bit. But every day since like June 1 has been like, we wake up at 8:30 in the morning, see if any new places hit the market and Zillow and apartments.com or whatever, and then we were just all over the place. It's insane right now. Like everything's going just like so fucking fast.
I
And
can't imagine having to do all this now. But you guys made it work.
Yeah, we figured it out. We got lucky with this, man. We walked in and the guy's like, "Yeah, this is actually available today if you want to do it." I'm like, "Oh, yes." I was like, "Let's do it right now." And it's good. It's a good area for us. We're gonna imagine the studio here. Like, I like the couch setup, obviously, kind of informal, kind of whatever,
It's a comfy couch, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. It was worth the trip. Yeah. And but eventually I kind of want to get a sign made and have it set up over there with the bar stools and like, have drinks over there and like get somebody in here running sound, so I don't have to worry about this fucking behemoth on the table, this eyesore. Hopefully I can cut it out all right, but yeah. So when you first started to play, a lot of the gigs that you were getting were not in. Were they like gigs that you had in America, or were they mostly like international stuff?
I didn't play my first real gig in America until I came back from Korea.
Wow.
And it wasn't a solo gig. I was a frontman for a rock band.
Oh, okay.
So we kind of toured around Shreveport, Louisiana, where I was stationed at the time at Barksdale Air Force Base. And,
okay.
Made a pretty good name for ourselves on the radio. We, kind of, the story goes, if we weren't all in the military, that we could have potentially signed.
What was the name of the group?
Release. Was it just Release?
Really?
Yep.
Was it a Pearl Jam tribute?
No.
No?
It was because the funny thing is, it was the name of the 3-piece band in Korea. I was like, hey man, I've already got a banner. I got it made.
Oh, there you go. So when you say radio, what did you guys? What were you guys on? Like,
I was just local radio.
Local radio.
Yeah,
okay.
Nothing too crazy.
I was gonna say, I was like, holy shit. So you played? Did you play anything like any of the bigger rooms around Tampa, or was that just in Louisiana?
Tampa, I've played at Hard Rock.
Nice.
Skippers, the old Skippers, which is pretty cool, and I want to try to make it to the new one too. Once,
yeah. They just
let's see. A couple other places I can't remember the names of. But yeah, Hard Rock was pretty cool. Did the acoustic showcase, or I can't remember the terminology, but I did that a couple years. And
that's pretty cool.
They made me some ambassador for Hard Rock for a while. I don't know if that's still in effect. I don't know if I can still claim that title, but that was a cool experience.
Sue his ass. Yeah, no, that's a lot of fun, man. The Hard Rock's a room that like I kind of see. I'm like, hey, I would love to play there, and then I think about like the logistics of it. And like bringing in sound and packing my shit up and like walking it from the car, like I'm like,
they do it well. Depending on where you're at, if you're on the main stage, they do it all for you.
Yeah,
okay,
cool. That's dope.
It's intimidating as hell, but it's awesome when you're doing it. But yeah, it was a cool experience.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually like I get uncomfortable when I'm comfortable at a gig. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like when I feel pressure, I'm like, okay, here we go. Yep. It's time to fucking turn it up. When I'm like comfortable and like, doing whatever, it's like, God, I'm just like cringing. Yep. I hate it. Cuz I know like when I nail it, even when I nail a song and like I just, like nobody claps, nobody's listening, and I know that it's good, cuz there's some times where I'm like, oh God, I butchered that. Like whenever you butcher a song, it seems like people clap more than when you really nail it, but
unless they know the song. That's the beautiful thing about being a songwriter too, because
right.
I play mostly originals, and when I screw up, usually Candace is like, I'm the only one that knows you screwed up.
That's what Jasmine says too. She's like, did you mess up the words? I'm like, shh.
Yeah, don't say anything.
Yeah, man, it's a pretty interesting feeling to have though, because like whenever I play with Keith, I get a little butterflies just because I'm like, I get the anxiety, not anxiety really, but just like I get the anticipation of like the eruption of the crowd. Like I love, because I only really get that when I'm with him.
Yeah.
Like
that guy's insane,
dude.
Man.
He's wild,
crazy.
He's a killer.
So much talent,
and he's the nicest dude. Like I've worked with guys that are like phenomenal talents like him, and they're just fucking douchebags. Like you just.
Yeah.
Talent doesn't mean anything if you're not respectful. Like,
Oh, definitely.
like
Yeah.
you really,
and humble.
yeah, you can't do that. Like I've worked with guys like that, like you know, side by side, like in duo partners where people were just like, oh my God. And I've been that guy in that sense too, where I thought I was a lot better than I was, and then I got humbled real quick when I came back here. But a lot of it is just your attitude and the approach of what exactly it is that you're doing. Like I can't stand people that think they have it all like figured out and know the best for you that don't do anything in this business. Like, you know what you need to do? Why don't we just get in a bus and tour around the fucking set? Oh yeah? Do you have money for a bus? Yeah. How am I getting there? Do you know anybody that works out of the state? Do you have any connections at these bars?
Yeah.
Do you know how much gas money costs?
Yeah.
Like,
There's expenses
I
here,
mean,
man. Yeah.
I can't just get in a fucking car. Like, that'd be nice, man, but you know, I would love to do that, but it's got to make sense in the long haul, you know? Like I know guys that did the whole tour thing just to say they did a tour, and they made $60 a person at the end of the day because of all the bills and everything, all the, you know, the bus repairs too.
Oh yeah.
You know, the fucking
I've heard the horror stories, man.
shit breaks down. Oh my God. There's a crazy story that I heard from a buddy of mine who is a bartender he's a bartender at one of the places in Safety Harbor. Mm-hmm. And he was telling me that a group of his buddies were like, I think they had a record deal and they were doing a tour, and they had to bring their own shit around in like one of those U-Haul trailers, like not it would just, you know, the attach to the truck trailer. They got hit and everything fucked up. Everything got flown out of the trailer. Yeah. Rolled the car, everything. All the equipment is fucked. It's done, toasted. And
I think I know the name of the band. I won't say anything.
They ended up not being able to perform anymore because they lost the deal. Yeah. It's pretty wild. But I think they were local. I feel like they were local, and I can't remember exactly, but I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah. It's just one of those stories where it's just like, it just breaks your heart, man, because it's like, oh my God. I mean,
life is short, man.
It's so
sometimes
crazy.
Going that route can be short-lived as well.
Yeah, it's very short, and it's lightning in a bottle. You know, those guys that have been doing it for 40 years, you know, no matter how much you think they suck, I mean, there's a certain amount of respect that needs to be given to these guys that can really just continue to tour, continue to sell tickets, continue to maintain the sound, and just really kill it. You know, like there's a lot of pop acts that, you know, or not really pop, but like, you know, the 80s rock that I'm not really into. Like, I can't. I appreciate it for what it's done with music. It's just not my thing. But I do respect it when I see them on tour and they're not key changing their songs down like a whole step and a half just so the singer can get out there and do it. And you know, like they're they're bringing in guys from the road, like these young kids that can play the songs and not whatever. Like that, I can't stand. But when you're out there with the original lineups and you're just out there crushing it, that I respect no matter what I think about your music, because there's a lot of, it's so fucking difficult to make it in this. And like you think about COVID with what happened last year, there might have been guys on the cusp of a record deal. Oh yeah, that 2020 just shut that down, and then the guys are like, well, I got to go back to selling cars now. Like I can't afford to do this anymore, and that's just heartbreaking. Because you never know what's going to happen. I mean, luckily I had money saved up to where I could survive during the pandemic. But like I wasn't working. I was making $0 other than the Venmo tips that I was getting from the live streams. Thank you guys again very much for that. But the album's not making me any money because I released that a week before that. I mean, I think I made $50 on it in a year and a half. You don't really make a lot of money. Releasing music, it's not like, oh wow, you're gonna be rich don't forget me when you're famous. Like, dude, it's not gonna fucking happen, okay? And I'm okay with that.
I hear that all the time. There's a guy that I know, I won't mention any names, but he calls me Rock God. I'm like, dude, come on. That's like the most I've made off of one song is like $615.
Yeah, right. That's pretty good though. That's not bad.
Yeah, that was over like 15 years.
Yeah. That's still pretty good. What do you what's your writing approach for original material now versus like when you first started writing? Because I know you have new stuff coming out. Yeah. So do life experiences change the way that you write songs? And
100%.
Yeah.
I think it's either life experiences or what's going on. You know, obviously 2020 was a crazy year, so I wrote songs. You know, I don't know how would you describe them. There's a song I wrote called "Be the Change." Just heard everybody bitching about everything, but no one was really doing anything about it.
Yeah.
So I wrote a song, and it's just all about, you know, just treat people the way you want to be treated. And, you know, I'm very, like, you know, peace, loving, hippie type dude when it comes to a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
But,
everybody relax.
Yeah. Yeah. Take a deep breath.
It's all right.
So yeah, like you know, I wrote a couple social justice songs, which I don't know if I'll ever release, but you know, in the moment, I needed to do that.
Yeah, it's a good release.
Yeah. Hence going back to the name.
Yeah, there you go.
That's why. That's
great band name.
That's exactly why. We named it
that. I think a lot of people, I think in a way, like writing for me, a lot of the times it doesn't really need to go anywhere. I just need to put something on paper and feel something, and then I go like, okay, now I've mentally processed that. Now we can move on.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's only really when I'm like, I think we could really build something off of this song. Where I'm like, okay, let's do that. Like I don't write a certain amount of songs. Like for example, the stuff that we're doing right now, we're putting out a collection of singles soon. Which, surprise, surprise, there'll be two new singles and two of the previous singles in like a, you know, Elephant Rope singles collection or whatever. I have the name for it, I think, but I'm going to wait on it in case I change my mind. But we're doing 13 songs, and I don't write 13 songs. I write like 25 or 30 or whatever, and then I'm like, okay, this one's doesn't really fit the mood, this one's whatever. But a lot of it is just like, I don't think I'll ever put this anywhere. Like a lot of the stuff that I wrote in the very beginning, not saying it's not good, it's just that it served its purpose for what it needed to do.
Absolutely.
It tells a specific story about me and what I was going through, and like a rage-filled incident or like a deep sorrow that I had to kind of get over the hill. Like a lot of it is just for me. And then when I think it's a story that people need to hear, then I'll like go and cut it and record it, and you know, if I think it's worth something. But a lot of the times it's just that quick like mental release of like, okay, we need to let's get this taken care of. But,
it's for me, it's, you know, the writing is therapeutic, performing is therapeutic, and you know, a lot of times it's I tell people, you know, I'm super fortunate to be able to go perform and get paid to go to therapy. A lot of people have to pay to go to therapy. I get paid for my own therapy. You know? So that's kind of cool. You know?
That's a really good way to put it. I've never really thought of it that way, but yeah, that's
And you know, I think my wife will know better than anybody. You know, when I'm not performing, when I'm not creative, that's when I'm at my worst. I don't know if you can attest to that or not.
Yes, but, absolutely. I've been going through that now because whenever there's like little stressors that stack up, and not anything monumental, just like little things like, you know, gotta take the dog to the vet, or I gotta put air in my tires, and like little things that kind of stack up. Gotta go to the grocery store. Gotta go drop this off here. Gotta run. You know, all these little things like stack up. That completely eliminates any sort of creative juice that I have flowing in my body, like anything. If I have like a list going on, I'm like, fuck, well, I can't do that. But sometimes, like, I found that traveling helps. Traveling helps. I always bring my guitar when I travel because sometimes I never know when inspiration is going to hit. You know, like rewriting an old song or fixing a line here or throwing something like that there. But a lot of it is like when I'm at my worst when I'm just sitting around here just like playing video games, like watching fucking Netflix, not doing anything. But it takes, like, this is going to sound really weird. I've found the ability to flip into depression for my benefit. Yeah. To where like I can see something and then I can go like, oh, like I go into that mode where I'm like, okay, what would that feel like? And then I turn it on in my head and then I go, okay, I'm going to write this down.
Yeah. I completely relate, man.
And then after it's done, you know. A lot of like the performance, you know, the performers have that, not ability, I don't want to say, but like I think we're overly empathetic creatures at heart. And I think a lot of our struggles come from not being able to compartmentalize our own stuff versus what we're seeing. Because like I immediately relate to every fucking musician that I see like on TV, on a show, on whatever, like The Voice, like
Yeah.
everything. I immediately put myself in that shit. I'm like, oh my god, it's so sad, like,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and then I go.
Are you a Hallmark commercial crier?
I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't used to be, but
Yeah,
shit, now
yeah.
now I see it. I'm like, oh my god, he just wants to see his daddy. Like, I'm
Yeah,
like, what the fuck?
I'm the same way, man.
What's going on? I used to. I mean, it used to be little things like people teasing me that would get me to cry. Now it's fucking everything, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
like me talking about a song that I love will get me to cry.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm the same way, man. Don't feel bad. You're
Like,
not
what
alone.
is happening?
Yeah.
Jasmine's like, you're gonna be all right? Like, like I talked about a Lumineers song one time, and I'm like, she's like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm not okay.
Not okay. I will be, but not right now.
It's so crazy. I mean, I'm thankful that it's like that, because I know a lot of like emotional brick walls, and like those are the dangerous ones, the ones that'll pop. But yeah, man, I think a lot of music and just performing in general in the arts is just a lot of people thinking that they understand you, and really they have no fucking clue.
No,
like at all. And I mean, you too, with being in the military too. I'm sure like people are like, oh yeah, I get it. My friend was, like,
Yeah.
like no.
I mean, because I've written songs, about my military career,
Yeah,
about
sure.
friends that I've lost. And
Sure, yeah.
I wrote this song called "Around the Sun," which whenever I finally release the next album or EP or whatever the hell I'm gonna do, it'll be on there. But when I wrote it, I had a friend that committed suicide when he came back from war, because he couldn't deal with all the crap.
Of course.
It took me a while to process that. So I just wrote a song last year called "Around the Sun," and the first time I performed it, I probably should have had sunglasses on.
Yeah.
Because as I'm singing it, I'm getting choked up, and and it's crazy when it's something you wrote and those emotions just continuously come back every time you. And I don't know if you can relate to that.
I can't. Not to that specific instance. I mean, I would never.
Just as a songwriter.
Yeah. And I'm sorry to hear about that, man. That's
I
it's
didn't mean to put like a downer on or anything.
No. I mean, but it is, it is something that needs to be talked about more. There's not a lot of care taken into, when everybody's coming back and to normalcy. I've seen it with friends of mine, and it's just really heavy. It's a lot of heavy stuff that a lot of people think that they, are never going to be able to talk about, and they just keep it in their own heads and everything. And it's a lot, man. It's a lot to deal with, and that's why, like, people need outlets.
Yeah.
It's horrible when people don't have that to kind of, get them over the hump of some sort of, whether it be PTSD or whether it be depression or anxiety or, suicidal tendencies or things like that. Like there's an outlet for all of it. It's just a lot of, there's not a lot of people outside of it that are willing to be that relentless push towards positivity. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are like, well, I've done all I can do. Like this is it, It's sad. I didn't mean to put it down on it, but that's a lot of those songs though that you write that come from those moments though are the most special, because it's the most honest. People I'm sure you get this too, because you write a lot of like 90s, grungy kind of Seattle gray cloud vibe over it, why are all the songs so sad? You get that a lot.
Yeah,
because that's how it is, man. Like that's just how I write. That's how I process. That's how I want things to sound. Like I'm not gonna write about chilling on a boat and having some fucking bikini party on a yacht or something like that. Like I don't relate to that. Yeah. That's not my life.
I've got very few of those songs. I mean, and a lot of them are relationship based.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, like happiness.
But,
yeah,
and that's pretty much. Those are the only time you're gonna get those songs out of me.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's what the hell? I gotta write about this, and that's where a lot of it comes from. Is just getting through it. Mm-hmm. And one of the coolest things that I found as a songwriter, and this really hit me. I was playing Relay for Life concert in Italy.
No shit, I did. I used to do those too back in the beginning. Yeah, man.
Yeah. So I did it, I believe, 2 or 3 years in a row. But I played this song I wrote called "The Other Side," and it was talking about the whole song is talking about contemplating. Being depressed and contemplating suicide, and kind of what you were talking about, putting yourself into a situation and then writing about it. And I performed this song, and it was day 2. I believe it was day 2 of 3. It might have been day 2 of 2.
Oh, they do. Either way, they do 3 days there.
This one was multiple days. I just remember that.
That's
the
crazy.
first night it was a full band. Second night it was just me. played this song, The Other Side, and I remember there weren't a lot of people there. It was like 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, sure.
So one guy was just like stood there and just watched me for a good hour. I think my set was like an hour and I was done. And then he found me on bass, just in passing at the commissary BX somewhere, and he's like, "You're that songwriter that was." And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "That song you sang about the other side." So I just want you to know you saved my life.
Oh.
And I was like, because I think every musician every songwriter gets to a point in their craft where they're like, do I continue this? Am I being effective? Am I getting out of it what I need to get out of it?
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day, man.
And that put everything into perspective for me. Like, if I stop writing, if I stop creating, I stop having an effect. Not just for me personally, but for a lot of people.
Of course.
Yeah.
God, that's... Ugh.
Yeah, that was deep, man. Like,
yeah.
That was... And anytime I play that song, I tell that story, and I remind everyone. I was like, I don't care what it is, what your art is, never give up on it.
Yeah, dude, I got so many goosebumps right now. That's crazy. Yeah, it's.
So we got to lighten the mood. We just got real deep.
Yeah, right. But it is an interesting thing because a lot of the times when you're a performer, these big acts are the bigger shows and the bigger rooms are only on stage for like maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But like for us, when we do cover gigs, we're on stage for 3 to 4 hours. And that's the majority of when people see us. And, when I'm on stage with Keith, like recently, actually, I can't remember if this was like, it was one of the times we were playing at Silver King, like, I don't know. I think it was the day we got on TV when we were playing on the Charlie Belcher, Charlie's World thing. We were playing some original music to promote the Art and Seafood Festival out in Safety Harbor. That day we were playing at Silver King, and everybody sees me on stage. We're having a blast. It was a loud crowd. Everything was really intense. Everybody was locked in. Everybody was having a good time, whatever. And I had maybe one of the worst panic attacks that I had in years. Right before that gig, like at the house, laying on this couch, going like, I can't move. I can't move. I don't know what I'm doing. So what's weird is like coffee does this to me because so when I drink coffee and I drink like multiple cups, if I have 2 cups of coffee, my heart will start beating really fast, and I just immediately go, I'm having a heart attack. This is it. I'm going to die right now. And then I start going like, well, what art am I leaving behind? Like, what's my legacy? Is my family going to be sad? Like, everything, it just starts like tumbling. And that's a lot. Like, people don't see that. People don't look at you and go like, oh yeah, he's having a great time. Like, but hours before this, I was like, curled up in a fucking ball, like shaking, going like, do I need to keep doing what I'm doing? Is it worth it? Should I even continue? Should I even put out this original music? Should I give up on this and this? Yeah. It's a spiral, man. It's crazy. It's a lot of stuff that people don't like, that they don't see. And I think that one of the most important things to watch right now in terms of understanding the anxiety and the pressures of a performer is Bo Burnham's Inside on Netflix. Have you watched that?
I haven't, but
dude,
I will.
It's insane. So he's a comedy. He's a comedic act, I guess. But to me, he's just an artist because he's a brilliant musician. He's one of the best and most intelligent young songwriters we have today. They're all funny songs, but there's a root of it's deeply rooted in like reality where you're like, oh shit, this is like, it's funny, but it's like this. It hits a certain way where it's like it's supposed to be comic relief for like just a natural disaster that we went through like last year with performers.
I'll definitely check it out.
It's very interesting, very interesting. But yeah, and so all right, we're gonna lighten the mood.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is good though. I like getting deep like this and getting
definitely.
honest. Like this is what it's all about. I never know what I'm gonna talk about until we start rolling, and then it just ends up being
none of this was
thing.
scripted.
Yeah. Read the prompter. So I have a couple questions, and then we can wrap it up. Do you have, like, I always ask this because I feel like it's important to expose these people. Do you have any advice that you've received that maybe you're glad you didn't take, or that you did and wish you didn't, kind of thing? Like just bad advice? Because I've being in this business, and I'm sure military as well. Yeah. You get a lot of people that think they know exactly what you need, exactly what you want, and then you end up going like, do I really need to do that?
I mean, I've received a lot of great advice and a lot of horrible advice. I can't pinpoint one thing other than, the drop everything you're doing. You can go to Nashville and make it right now.
Yep. Yep.
If you walk into this bar at this time, I've heard stuff like that, or there's always somebody that knows somebody, and
Of course.
I'm going to give them a call, and you're going to be the next big thing. And when I was a younger singer songwriter, I was like, oh my God,
Really?
this is it.
Yeah.
Whoa, dude!
Did you hear who he knows?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's, and that may be true, but
Yeah.
I'm not at a point in my life where I rely on music for everything. I rely on music for my own personal therapy,
Sure.
and sharing my craft with other people. And
Yeah.
if by chance I can help mentor some younger folks,
and it's a part of your business too. I mean, really,
Yeah.
because you're in front of people. They need it's a face to the brand of whatever it is you're selling with the.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that too.
What's up?
Your the clothing line that you
Oh,
just
yeah. So
Please
on
talk
a
about-
whim.
that's probably the most important thing right now because that's the freshest
that's
piece
fresh.
of that's
That's
hot
like
off the press, man.
That's like a week fresh.
Yeah, dude.
So it's I have this bag that I usually carry around. It's kind of like an over shoulder bag because I carry a lot of crap around with me.
Yeah, sure.
And I had this patch made just on Amazon. It could make a custom patch, and it just says
Yeah.
hippie veteran on it. So the backstory is people are like, oh, you're in the military, and there's either one or two responses. Around here, it's usually, oh, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Which is, as a veteran, I don't care how many times people, thank you for your service. There's never a great way for me to respond. You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Did you serve? No, you didn't. Like, there's never a great response.
You're fucking welcome. Freedom ain't free.
Yeah.
Enjoy your beer.
How many years did you serve? Oh, only 10? I did 17.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
I-
I'm never like that.
I try to not say that because I have friends that are like, God, I see how uncomfortable they get when people go like, thank you for your service. I just go, oh, cool, man. That's awesome. I'll say thank you or whatever, like occasionally, but I won't go like, thank you for your service. Like, because I know
that's very uncomfortable for me.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like people are like, didn't you say thank you? I'm like, well, I mean, I just don't want to make them feel weird. Like you have, because that to me is like, hey man, I'm gonna say something and you have to say something back to this.
Yeah.
Because anything you say
it's weird,
is
man.
bad. Like
It's weird. I mean, I'm definitely appreciative because I'm sure it comes from the heart.
of course.
I just okay.
Like,
Thank you.
Oh, God, not again.
But anyway, so back to so sometimes you
one
get
or two things.
Yeah, one or two things. So it's either thank you for your service, or I've got depending on where you're at. Not so much here in Florida, but depending on where you're at. It's like, oh, you're all, baby murderers and warmongers.
Oh,
and,
my
I'm
God.
like, dude, at heart, I'm a, happy-go-lucky, peace-loving dude,
Yeah.
So that's where the idea hippie veteran came from. So I had this patch
Love it.
made, and then a lot of people started complimenting me. They're like, dude, that's awesome. What are you going to do with it? I'm like, I don't know. It's a freaking patch, So finally, about a week and a half ago, somebody came up to me and they're like, I love that patch. You should do something with it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to fucking do something with it.
Yeah.
So I went on and registered as an LLC, got the trademark.
Oh, shit.
Did all that. So
Damn,
we
okay.
put our first order of T-shirts in. Can I name the place? Or
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so Legendary
Yeah.
in Tarpon.
Yeah, I know
So
Legendary. Yeah.
We're working with them. Got the invoice. Got all that rocking and rolling. So they'll be hot
that's
off the
sick.
press by next week, I believe.
That's sick. Well,
Yep.
am I allowed to wear it if I didn't serve?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
No,
I don't want to be one of those guys.
no, and that's the cool part about it. Everybody knows somebody, and I think it's just the message behind it. Like,
Yeah, sure.
there's a certain persona
Of
being
course.
in the military, and you're pro war, pro this, and there's
Yeah.
a time and place for everything. But
Exactly.
but no, it's cool. We got cool, simple designs. It's just T-shirts, and I think we're gonna put an order in for koozies. We got hats next. and
Nice.
It'll be a full apparel line. The website's not up and running yet, but it's going to be hippieveteranclothing.com.
Nice. That's cool, man.
Domain's already secured, so it's a work in progress. But
Yeah.
super excited, and it's it's cool to be a business owner of something that you literally created out of thin air, and everybody's already like, dude, that's awesome.
that's got to feel real special. It's a lot similar to writing the song because a lot of songs come out of
My joints hurt.
nothing. Yeah, it's okay.
I'm old, man.
Well, you don't look like it. God damn. So back to the advice thing. It's so funny that you say that about the Nashville thing because I mean I said it before we started rolling and like that's the main example of it for me. Like a lot of it is like I heard this guy's gonna probably know who he is, but it's a friend of a friend kind of. he told me that his mom is friends with Adam Levine's mom.
Oh, cool.
From Maroon 5.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool, man. He goes, we can get you on The Voice. Like, we should do that. I was like, yeah, I already did it. I was like, oh.
I heard about that one, man. That was great.
I was like, I don't want to do that again. Yeah.
If you guys have not listened to that podcast episode, you definitely have to.
Dude,
that was a good one.
It's, me and John Lee, man. Yep. He's a funny motherfucker. And that guy is an insane talent, too. But, yeah, it's just like a lot of these people, like, will say who they're related to. And I'm like, okay. And I'm sure they love getting bothered by this if you actually have this connection. I had this. Okay, do you ever get like weird flexes of like, okay, I don't think you're even trying to connect me with an A-lister? Do you ever get something like that where you hear somebody and they say a name like it's supposed to carry some sort of weight in that business, and you're like, who the fuck is that?
That's happened quite a bit recently, actually. We do at Five Branches. We do the open mic every Wednesdays, and I'm. This isn't to take away from other open mics around Tampa Bay, but I'm partial to this one because I live there, and that's usually the one that I go to. But man, we get some phenomenal people that roll through there. Oh yeah. But there's always that somebody at the bar that's like, all right, I know a guy.
I know a guy.
And you're like. You know this person? I'm like, I never heard of him.
Yeah,
Are
right.
you serious? How come you never heard of John Smith? Like,
yeah, right.
Who the hell's John Smith?
yeah. I had
a
guy tell me that his his grandfather or his uncle or something was Errol Flynn. Do you know who Errol Flynn is? It's a deep cut. I believe he was the original, like, I think Robin on TV. Hold on.
I was gonna say Sheriff of Hazard County.
Let me look this up. It's I gotta find what the fuck, because it was such a weird thing to even say. Okay, Australian born. What? Hold on. Yeah. Oh, Robin Hood.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So it wasn't Robin like Batman and Robin. Okay. It was Robin Hood. Yeah. So he was saying that he knew him, and I'm like, okay. Is he dead? I was like, I'm looking him up. I was like, he's born in 1905. Like, yeah, but he's like, I know guys in L.A. because they know me, and I'm a descendant of this dude, and I'm like, I don't like you. Like, I don't like anything that you are. This is just horrible. It's a lot of people like with forced connections, like, I work for this company and we give all the proceeds back to the artist. I'm like, no, the fuck you don't, because then you wouldn't make any money.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
like, don't tell me things that I know are not true. It's a lot of, and then I think the worst part of it is having people that aren't connected and aren't in the business and have never spent a day doing what we do, that will tell you exactly what you need to do.
Yeah.
Versus a guy who like might have had some studio cred back in the day and is like just comes in and starts spewing bullshit. But like to me, it's so much worse when somebody's like, "Let me tell you what you need to do. Here's some advice that I can give you just from watching you." I'm like, "Okay, let me stop you there. You deal with all of this shit that I'm dealing with, and then come out and perform in a stage for 3 hours. You do that."
There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that's got to go down before you ever step up to the mic, man.
And then tell me to fucking smile when I play. Okay? How about that?
Yeah.
Don't fucking do that.
Oh man, I've got the stories.
Dude, people do that all the time.
Yep.
I've heard that's probably the one thing that I've heard the most is like, you should smile more when you play. I'm like, oh yeah? Do you think Hurt by 9 Inch Nails,
Yeah.
Reznor's
Trent wasn't up there
Reznor's
smiling.
up there just like, ha. Yeah.
Watch him do it. He's not.
Yeah, it's come on, man. It's like
I
it's
hurt myself today to see if I still feel
Oh man.
focused on the pain.
Sorry. Putting on myself.
Putting on the Ritz over here, man. Jeez, we were killing it, huh, Dixie? She's sleepy. All right. Do you have a scratch track of the week?
So that's the do-over, right?
Yeah, the theme. It's kind of still the theme of the podcast, but we're kind of just lightly throwing it in here now because we're not doing any album.
This
stuff
is fairly
anymore.
recently, so we both know Glenn Lee.
Of course, yeah.
He was
What
there
up,
for
dude?
this incident. Yeah.
Oh,
What's
good.
up, man?
Good.
This happened while I was performing, and he says I handled it very well. I think I was on the verge of throwing something at this patron.
I'm so excited for this already.
Oh, it was great. So it was towards the end of the night. Had to be close to 10 o'clock. Was playing a 7 to 10 gig.
Okay.
I might have had, And I only do a handful of covers at
Sure.
my gigs. It's mostly original music.
Good.
But it's
I like
all
that.
stuff that I like. It's
Yeah.
not- so when someone requests, hey, can you play this song? Nope.
Yeah.
If it's not one I've already got on the list, it's just not happening.
Right. Exactly.
So this woman, and she
boy.
was sitting with her husband up at the bar. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to talk about the establishment. But she's like, play Tom Petty. I'm like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And she had already tipped me $5, and she's like, well, I'm going to take my $5 back.
No, the fuck you're not.
And I
no, the
said-
fuck you're not.
I said, well, and there was maybe 5 people in the bar at this time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let me ask you a question. And everybody's like watching me and watching her, and we're just
dude.
having this. I was like, I got the mic, so let me ask you a question.
Exactly. Yeah.
I said, did you tip me based off of what you heard previously?
Yeah.
And she was like, well, yeah. I was like, so don't be vindictive and come back and try to take my money.
That's
Well, I would
right.
call the cops on you.
That's right. That's my fucking money, bitch.
So anyway, she's like, I want you to play Tom Petty. And I'm like, it's not happening.
I want you to get the fuck out of here.
She kept going on and on and on. I was like, you know who knows how to play Tom Petty? This dude. And I pointed over to Glenn, and I'm like, Glenn, you want to play Tom Petty? And he was like, yeah, whenever you're done, man. Dude, I was livid inside. He says I handled it very well, but I was just so I don't know. As a grown man, still like trying to figure out what the hell I want to do in life, and then constantly criticizing myself for every action I take.
Oh,
And
sure.
how could I handle
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
I go back to that moment specifically and be like, man, I should have just been like, nope, and then just kept playing.
Yeah.
But I engaged, and
Oh,
I was
yeah.
just like, oh.
No, a lot of the times like with hecklers like that, and I've had one, I believe at the same establishment, but I'm not gonna say. I had a guy just absolutely fucking laying into me. Like, I'll give you. So what I do you know who Eric Griffin is? The comedian. He's
No.
do you ever watch Workaholics?
No, I haven't. It's
Okay.
probably, I don't know. Yeah.
So he's Montez from the Workaholics, and I've mentioned this on the podcast with Chris Francisco too, which is another episode. If you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. What he does as a comedian is what he's like. What I do, I'm a parking attendant. Okay, I tell you, hey, you can't park here. Okay, and then if you keep parking there, then I'm gonna write you a ticket. Then I'm gonna light you up. So what I do when I'm up there is like, hey man, don't do this because you're going to lose, okay? Watch your step. Don't park here again. If you park here again, I'm going to embarrass you, okay?
Yep.
It's not like I'll give you 1. I'll give you 2. Sometimes if I'm feeling fun, I'll give you 3.
Yeah.
But most of the time, it depends on the content of the conversation or of like, what he's doing or whatever. I had this guy. He was I don't think I've told this story on the podcast. This is probably one of my favorites. I had probably one of my favorite nights ever of playing music. And it was in the middle of when I was about to wrap up. And he had been just he was coming up and asking me for stuff that he knows that I wouldn't know just to fuck with me and bother me. It's like, do you know any Butthole Surfers? Do you know any Jane's Addiction? Do you know any what was it like I think it was like Silverchair or something like that, like all these like obscure 90s bands that like no one really covers out unless you're like a so I was like, okay. I'm like, no man, I don't do that. And he was like, Kid Rock and like shit like that, like all over the place. I'm like, yeah. I was like, yeah, dude. I'm like, okay. And he kept making comments as he was coming up, and like the night was going on, and he kept drinking, and he was just sitting there. So in the middle of me going like, hey, thank you guys so much for being here. This is a great night. I enjoyed meeting everybody. It was the first time I had played at this place. I was like, love you guys for coming out. It was so great to see, faces that I haven't seen in a while. I'm going to do one more song. And as soon as I said I'm going to do one more song, he just starts going, liar, 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 and fucking
That's great.
yelling at me. And I'm like, excuse me? And he's like, you're a fucking liar. You're not going to do just one more.
You said you were
Yeah.
going to play Butthole Surfers, and you
Yeah.
never did.
So he starts yelling at me and calling me a liar. And I'm like, okay, man. So I played the one, I can't remember, it was probably like Everlong or something like that. And I end my sets on quite a bit. So I do that, and then I end the night, and everybody's like, hey, do one more. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. I never do like encores or whatever.
Yeah.
But if it's like with me and Keith, sometimes they'll do it. And, it's some solo gigs where it's loud, and like I'll do it. But most of the time, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, whatever comes around, I'm shutting it down because I got to go to bed because I got one the next day. Like I don't want to stretch this into whatever. So I start to play the encore song, and he goes, "I fucking knew it, you liar!" And he started going crazy. I'm like, "Hey, man." I was like, "Can you stop?" I was like, "Listen, you've been doing this all night to me." And like I stopped, and I'm like, "Are you having a good time?" Like, cause that's my thing. Are you having a good time? He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, well, listen, everybody else back there don't fucking ruin it for them. So shut your fucking mouth, and then I'll play this one, and then you can say whatever you want after this one song, okay?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, okay." And then I ran into him again at like other gigs,
Yeah.
and like recognized him. I'm like, "I know you, man. I know who you are."
I got my eye on you.
Yeah. He was
Keep
like,
your mouth shut.
He was like, "Hey, I hate to be this guy, but do you know any Jane's Addiction?" I'm like, "I remember you, man."
Yeah.
He goes, "You remember me?" I was like, "Yeah, I remember you. Get your fucking foot off my stage."
Yeah.
Just like being a dick right away, so he wouldn't bother me. Because I'm like,
fine.
I don't do that with everyone, but I do it with people that are like, like aggressively rude to you, like
Yeah.
where it's like, okay, man, like I'm not dealing with this, like, because they see like a kid, like I'm younger than most of the people that play, so like they see a younger guy on stage, they're like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna fuck with this guy. I'm like, no, you're not.
Yeah, I got the mic, man.
Yeah, it's not
I
gonna
can
be
embarrass you.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. So.
Yeah.
Don't do that to people. Don't do that. Just go out and enjoy yourself. If you like what you hear, tip. And, if you want to request, you bring a however much money you want up there. You say, "Do you know any of this?" And then if they say no, I'm sorry. They go, "Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate it." Then that's it. You don't need to bother anybody else. It's all good.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. All right. Yeah. I would say that I think you handled that very well. I would have handled that way worse.
Yeah, Glenn says I handled it well. Internally, I felt like it could have gone better, but
Yeah, you always go through it in
Yeah,
your head. You
yeah.
like the mental boxing rounds in the
Oh, yeah.
shower. You're like, I could have fucking said this. God damn.
that's the most recent one.
Yeah.
I did have this. I wasn't even performing at this point. Somebody said, "Oh yeah, it's Jeff Brockman. He's a singer-songwriter," and this guy walks up to me and he slaps his card to my chest. He's like,
A business card?
A business card. He was like, "You need to know me.
Ugh, gross.
You need to know me." This is all slimy
Gross.
guy. And I'm like, "Who the hell are you?" And he was like, "Somebody important you need to know." And I was like, "And why are you handing me your card?"
Gross.
"You're a singer-songwriter, aren't you?" I was like, "Well, yeah. You need to know me."
Yeah.
And then this was at the beginning of the night, and then just hanging out with my wife and friends. And
Is this an open mic or something, or just you're
this
just
was
sitting?
I was seeing another band at another establishment. And,
My God.
And anyway, he I just kept coming back to me. He's like, "You're not gonna call me, are you?" He's like, "Nope, not gonna fucking call you, dude." Like, get the fuck away from me.
I'm sure you say that a lot to people. You're not going to call me, right? No, sir, I will not.
I'm not calling you. That was weird.
Do you still have his card?
Nah.
Okay.
I don't think I
Do you
ever
remember
took it out of the bar.
Do you remember his name?
No.
Oh, damn it.
No. I didn't give it a second glance, man. He was
It's
too
so
creepy.
funny. Yeah, it's
Yep.
it's weird. A lot of those guys are real skeevy. It's like,
Yep.
ugh. Just like you get, it's an immediate vibe, man.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff with arts it's a quick vibe check. It's
Yeah.
5 seconds. All right. If you got 5 seconds to make it count, because if you're trying to sell me on what you're doing and you're fucking weird about it, like I already know where it's gonna go.
Yeah.
You just gave me a window into your true self.
Yeah, definitely.
You already did it.
100%.
So it's
Yeah.
God.
It's
All
crazy.
right. Well, listen. Don't be like those people. Be nice. Understand. We're still real people too.
Yes, we have feelings.
Yeah. We.
Don't slap my chest with your card.
Please stop.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well, plug your social media and your stuff one more time, and the clothing line, and then we'll wrap it up. Make sure you do that.
Yeah, so it's pretty much Facebook and Instagram. So Jeffrey Brockman Music for each one of those, and then Hippie Veteran is the clothing company. So hippieveteranclothing.com. That's not up and running yet, but we do have Facebook and Instagram. So just check out Hippie Veteran, and we'll have. We're actually going to be at Hippie Fest in Tarpon Springs, Sponge Docks, August 21st.
Really?
So yeah, we've
August 21st.
August 21st.
Cool,
yeah,
man.
So that's coming up in a couple of weeks.
Cool. Yeah.
So we'll have a booth out there. So if you're down on the Sponge Docks in Tarpon, swing by, grab a shirt. We definitely appreciate it.
Do you have any? This will be out on the 12th, I believe. Do you have any upcoming gigs that weekend?
Yes. August 14th, I will be at Stilt House Brewing.
Nice.
And then after that, I think I'm down in Clearwater. I got to look at the calendar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you can find all that on those social medias. Jeff's a good follow, so check that out. Make sure you go see him live.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it. Thanks for being the first guest in the brand new
man.
Diggs studio. Whatever.
I swear the couch is comfy. I just got squeaky joints.
So thank you again for coming by. Thank you guys for listening. If you haven't already and you're watching still, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that little bell underneath so you can get some notifications on when we drop some new content, new videos, and everything. We're going to be dropping a collection of singles here pretty soon. So be on the lookout for that. We just finalized and mastered 2 new songs that'll be on the Elephant Rope, but we're going to release a little package for you so that you can kind of get a little taste, a little appetizer before the full meal, which is the Elephant Rope. That'll be out hopefully sometime before the end of the year. It was originally supposed to be out tomorrow by the time you're seeing this, but a lot of things happened. It's not free making a record, so it had to take a little bit of a backseat to what we got going on here. But thank you again for listening. As always, Scratch Track Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. You could find me on social media as well, Josh Plummer Music, everywhere. And you can go to the website, joshplummermusic.com/schedule, and that'll give you all the dates of where I'm at up until the end of September. So we got October stuff that's in the works right now, and we will see you guys very soon. Thank you again for listening. I'll see you guys very soon. Bye.
Peace. Thanks, man.
Thank you, man. That was a good one.